The electrosurgical generator we'll be looking at in this presentation is the Valleylab Force FX. Although machines will vary from manufacturer to manufacturer, many features are common to all. Firstly, we'll take a look at the rear panel connections. On the back panel of the Force FX are the mains input, which is a standard IEC mains connector, the 4-pin monopolar connectors, monopolar foot switch 1 and monopolar foot switch 2, which mate with the 4-pin monopolar foot switch plugs, and the 3-pin bipolar connector, which mates with the bipolar foot switch plug. The alignment notch on these plugs should be orientated correctly, the plug inserted, and the collar finger tightened. Also located on the back panel is the volume control for the diathermy activation tone. Finally, there is the RS-232 interface port, which is normally covered by the blanking panel shown below. Each of the back panel connections relate to the front panel outputs. Monopolar foot switch 2 on the back of the generator controls the monopolar foot switch 2 output on the front panel. The monopolar foot switch 1 on the back of the generator controls the monopolar 1 output on the front panel. Similarly, the bipolar foot switch connector controls the bipolar output on the front panel. When the machine is switched on, it goes through a self-testing sequence to determine whether or not all internal components and external accessories are working correctly. To demonstrate this, we have plugged a finger switching instrument with a faulty cut switch into the monopolar 1 connector on the front panel. This is recognized by the diathermy machine as it goes through its test sequence. In this case, it shows the appropriate fault code in the cut window. Once the generator has completed a successful self-test, it defaults to a power setting of 1 watt for all diathermy modes. However, using the recall button on the left side of the front panel, the previous settings can be quickly recalled. This is useful in emergency situations when setup time may be limited. Now let's look more closely at the different modes used in diathermy, starting with bipolar. The precise setting is used for surgery involving delicate tissue work, especially for neurosurgery and in ophthalmology. The standard setting is used for the vast majority of bipolar work, and macro is used for bipolar cutting. The power output is displayed in watts and is adjusted by pressing the up-down arrows. Directly below the front panel control is the socket for attaching bipolar accessories. The next mode we'll look at is the monopolar cut. The low setting is useful in laparoscopic work. Pure is used 90% of the time in the cut mode. The blend mode provides cutting with hemostasis. Again, the power is easily adjusted using the controls adjacent to the numeric display, with a maximum power of 300 watts available in cut mode. To the right of the machine is the coagulation panel, which also provides 3 settings for this diathermy mode. Desiccate for contact coagulation, fulgurate the standard setting for this mode, and spray for the superficial coagulation of larger areas of tissue. The maximum power when using coagulation is 120 watts. Diathermy machines and accessories are universally colour-coded, yellow for cut and blue for coag. This colour coding scheme is reflected in the foot switches and finger-switched instruments. The monopolar 1 and monopolar 2 output sockets on the front of the diathermy machine provide connections for a variety of accessories, both for finger-switched and foot-switched instruments, such as the 8mm foot switch and the 4mm hand switch connections. The insertion of an active adapter allows the use of monopolar cables of different diameters. An important safety aspect of diathermy is the correct application and monitoring of the patient return electrode. In the case of the Valleylab machine, this electrode is constantly monitored, and should the pad lose contact with the patient's skin, the diathermy power will be cut off and the REM alarm sound. On insertion of the patient return electrode plug, the contact quality alarm changes from red to flashing red. It then changes to green when the electrode is applied to the patient and good contact is formed. Then the machine is ready for use.